We started this garden on a piece of land 4 months ago that before this was clay rich soil and not suitable for growing vegetables on yet. We spent a bit of time every morning watering, planting, weeding, and now we're starting to harvest and wanted to show you what we can get. We experimented with starting to grow Brussels sprouts for the first time in the garden, and we don't have the sprouts yet, but we do have a lot of really nice big leaves, so we're starting by collecting the big leaves on the outside to eat first. In Thailand, we don't have many heirloom watermelon varieties, and usually they have quite a lot of chemicals in them, so we've been experimenting with different varieties from different seed saving groups. This one we really love. It's called Moon and Stars, as you can see by the really beautiful skin. The leaves have that as well, and it's been really it's really delicious. It's got a nice pink flesh inside. This year we grew romaine lettuce, and this is taking the heart bit out in the middle, which is nice and crunchy. We also collected some basil. This is from a Thai basil that we want to take the seeds off so that the plant will put its energy into creating leaves instead. These are French beans, and they're best when they're flat and soft and still quite young and tender. The older ones we're keeping for seed. This is in Thai called Fragrant cucumber, which is our favorite kind. It has no bitterness and it stays nice and sweet for a long time. This was our cabbage this year, and we're really excited about how it did. It came out really nice and soft and sweet. Outside, when you buy cabbage, it usually has high levels of chemicals used and really doesn't keep any sweetness in the leaves when you eat it. So this one, when all you do is steam it, it's so nice. So we're really excited about that. When you harvest the head, you want to leave as many big leaves on the bottom as possible, because then you can get these little baby cabbages that'll come out on the bottom, and they're really nice and yummy. This is Indian spinach, and it's the only kind of spinach that we're able to save seed from in Thailand. Other kinds of Western spinach don't go to seed here, but we've had really good success with this one. Here I'm just thinning it out and eating them as baby. This is our spring onion, bunching onion, green onion. To harvest it, you want to put your finger down in between there to really brace it so that you pull up the roots of just one of the stalks at a time. And that way then it'll keep producing more and you never have to replant it. And here we take that in. Right next to that is our red onion or shallots. This doesn't act in the same way. So for this, we're just going to take the whole bunch, pull it up at once, and harvest the whole bunch of onions to eat at one time. These we're going to eat here today, so I am harvesting them in this way, but if you want to keep them and dry them and have them to eat longer, keep the roots and the stems on them, and then you can weave the stems together, dry them, and they'll last for several months. This year we experimented with a Western variety of celery, which is a bigger stalk. Usually the Thai celery is smaller and more potent. We wanted to see how these would grow, so we've been giving them a shot. Usually they pull out the whole head, but here we're just taking out some outer leaves and eating them as we want to and see how they go from there. This is a kind of Chinese kale that's nice and soft and sweet. To harvest it, you want to leave a couple leaves, 2 to 3 leaves under the joint where you cut. This will allow it to shoot out again from that spot, and over time you'll get more and more shoots, allowing you to get a lot more kale out of one plant. We grew several different varieties of tomatoes this year and chilies. We started to see that some of the birds were coming to peck at them because they looked so good. So we started to bring them in before they would be completely ripe. And then just ripen them inside. We also tried a bunch of different kinds of chilies this year, a lot of ones that are not quite as spicy, so we could use them in different kinds of cooking. And those can be collected green or red. Since these kind of plants kind of come all more at once, we're just collecting as much as we can now, putting that together and making sauces, drying them in the sun, and freezing some for use later on when we don't have so much. So these large white onions are probably one of the things we're most excited about right now. They are doing really well. At the moment, we just pull them and are eating them as we want and as we can use them. Later on, we'll wait, and the stem will start to die out. And at that point, we can harvest them all out of the fields and share them with friends and try to use them as much as we can. After that, you can keep them in a cold room or the fridge, and they can last for a few months. This is a kind of local sweet corn. We don't often have as many sweet corns here, and this is a nice local variety that has a bit of a tough texture but really nice flavor. We grew this corn along with a squash that we got from our friend from Scotland, and she got from a friend from Bangladesh. So this is our lemongrass bush. This one stays all year, and when you want to harvest, you can find the soft joint just at the base of the ground where it'll easily snap and come off, and this will give you the bottom and the rest of the leaves. In Thailand, we eat both unripe and ripe papaya. Today we're going to get this one for cooking. And here we're harvesting from our moringa tree. Moringa is a superfood. It's really good for you. It's a tree, and we're eating the shoots. If it starts to get too tall, we'll just take off the top of it to keep it short and small so that it's easy to harvest from. We usually use the shoots steamed or blanched and eaten with other dishes or in soups, and as a green. That's really good for us. So this is our pumpkin or squash patch. One thing that we eat quite often here is the flowers of the squash, and they're really delicious. You can make them into stir fries or steamed with other dishes. What you want to look for is that it's a male shoot. So this here is a female shoot. You can tell that it has a squash coming. If you let that go, it's going to get bigger, and we're going to let this one get even bigger. But while we're waiting, we can look for the male shoots. That's another female one. When you find a male flower, we are going to cut that off and collect those, and then we can bring them in and used in stir fries and soups, and really nice sweet flavor to them. This area has mizuna and mustard greens, and we sew them really tightly, and then we just start to thin them and eat them as baby greens and eat them as they get a bit older, and then leave them and space them so that we can then use them as bigger plants as well. Mustard greens are nice when they're bigger and cooked as well. This is our local eggplant. They're in a small ball, like a ping pong ball shape, and we eat them when they're white and light green and really soft and sweet at that point. The yellow one that you saw is tougher, and that will be saved for keeping seed. Here you can see our mulberry tree is starting to come in with fruit. We've noticed that if we give it more water in other seasons at any time, it really can provide a lot more fruit. We want to use the ones that are starting to turn black, almost a really dark, rich color. Those are going to be the sweetest ones. Here our sugar cane is starting to be ready. So we take it, cut it from the bottom, and then cut off the top part. And what we're going to eat is this middle section here after we've peeled these off. And it has full of fiber, but inside it you can chew it and get all the sweetness. We started this garden just about 4 months ago on some new land that didn't have fertile soil and hadn't been gardened before, and we've just been very excited to see that even growing a little bit every day, little bits of many different things, is even more than we can eat ourselves, and we could sell it or we can share it with friends, and we can eat from our own land in a really, really short amount of time.